Hello, welcome back, everybody. This is Cornfield Confessional, and I'm your host, Jake Brown. Tonight, it is Sunday evening. We are going to be talking Nebraska versus Maryland. So, Maryland comes into this game. It's this Wednesday night on Big Ten Network, 6 o'clock Central. Maryland comes into this one 11-16, 4-12 in Big Ten play. They are having a tough first season under Buzz Williams, the big-time head coach they nabbed from Texas A&M. He also coached at Virginia Tech and Marquette. Solid head coach. I thought it was a good hire for them, but his first year has been abysmal, man. Let's talk about their injury report. So their best player, Pharrell Payne, who transferred over from A&M, followed Buzz Williams. He got hurt December 13th against Michigan. Undisclosed when he's going to return, but that's a big blow for Maryland. And then also Miles Rice is out for them. And then David Coy Jr., I don't know if he's injured or not. He only played 6 minutes last game, but he's another one to keep an eye on. So let's take a look at Maryland's schedule. We know it's been a tough season for them at 11-16. I highlighted pretty much just their bad losses and bad stretches. So it really started for them against Gonzaga and Alabama in November, late November. This may have been a tournament they were playing in, but Gonzaga just destroyed them, 100-61, and then Alabama did it to them the next game. Alabama beat them 105-72. And then they played at Iowa, started December, a couple of Big Ten games. Iowa slaughtered them by 19 points. And then Michigan beat them 101-83. And then they went to Virginia and had a close game, but lost 80-72. Spanked Old Dominion, and then they start Big Ten play. So they started off with 4 straight Big Ten losses: Oregon, Indiana, UCLA, and USC. And none of those games were close. They beat Penn State by 23, and then they had a tough 3-game stretch. Illinois beat them 89-70. Michigan State just absolutely slaughtered them 91-48. Then Purdue slaughtered them 93-63. And then Ohio State slaughtered them 82-62. So they've gotten blown out a lot of games this season, guys. They came back, won a couple Big Ten games in a row. It beat Minnesota 67-62 and then beat Iowa 77-70. And then they lost to Rutgers and then lost to Northwestern, so lost 2 in a row, and then came back in their most recent game against Washington and won in a low-scoring battle 64-60. So just no consistency. They've had a lot of different starting lineups this year as I was doing research on them. Let's look at their player stats. Now, I crossed out Pharrell Payne, their best player, scoring leader. He's unavailable, injured. So then it gets to David Coy Jr. So David Coy is a transfer from Kansas and also Northern Illinois, was a standout at Northern Illinois for 2 seasons, then transferred to KU, struggled, and then most recently transferred to Maryland. Streaky shooter, but he can go off. If he gets hot, look out. He's averaging 14 points, 14.4 points a game, 2.8 assists, so he's their best facilitator, and he's shooting 35% from 3 on the year. So even though he's streaky, he can go off. Andre Mills, 11.3 points per game, 4 rebounds. He's their top 3-point shooter in the starting lineup, just under 36% from 3. He's been their top scorer the last 5-6 games. Darius Adams, true freshman, 11.3 points per game, 3.5 boards, 1.5 assists. He was a highly touted recruit, really good freshman player for them. Solomon Washington, transfer from A&M, also followed Buzz Williams, 10.3 points per game. He's their top rebounder, 9.6 a game. That's really solid. We've got to box him out. And then Elijah Saunders, their other power forward, 8.7 points, 4 rebounds per game. And he's shooting also almost 40% from 3, but I don't think he takes very many. So they've got 5 guys in double figures, 6 guys scoring at least 8 points a game. So they've got pretty good balanced scoring, even amidst the injuries. Miles Rice crossed him out because he's injured. But if you look at the red circles at the bottom, they're only averaging 71.2 points per game. It's one of the worst in the Big Ten, second worst to be exact. Their assist numbers are terrible, only 10.4 assists per game. That's worst in the league. 12.4 turnovers per game. That's second worst in the Big Ten. Nebraska should be licking their chops. We've got a big opportunity to get a lot of transition points in this game. And then look at their field goal percentage. Worst in the conference at 40.9% from the field. And 3-point, not much better, 32.2%. Not terrible, but not good either. Now, their probable starting lineup. They've had a lot of different rotations and different starting lineups this season because of injuries and just poor play. But this is what I think it's going to be. This has been the last 5 games, this has been their starting lineup. I think they're going to stick with it. Darius Adams, the true freshman point guard. Andre Mills, shooting guard. He's a redshirt freshman, also followed Buzz Williams from Texas A&M. Solomon Washington followed Buzz from Texas A&M. He's a senior, played 3 years at A&M. Elijah Saunders, he's a Virginia transfer. Did 1 year at Virginia. Where did he play before then? And San Diego State. 2 years at San Diego State, 1 year at Virginia for Elijah Saunders at power forward. And then Colin Metcalf doesn't get a ton of minutes, but has entered their starting lineup just for size sake. And he's a Northeastern transfer. All right. You guys know I love recruiting, and I love to dig in and do research on whoever we're playing in their roster and just the talent and the guys that they recruited and got in the portal. So looking at their roster talent, David Coy Jr., transfer from Kansas, played last season at Kansas, played like 15 minutes a game, just averaged like 5.2 points. But his first 2 seasons, he was at Northern Illinois, and he was one of the best mid-major players in the country. I think his sophomore year, he was averaging like 19 points a game at Northern Illinois. So he's a senior, redshirt senior in his final year with Maryland. But you see, he was a pretty highly rated transfer portal prospect, 90 overall rating, top 300 player in the portal, the 47th rated point guard in the portal. He was a JUCO product. That's why he doesn't have a rating as a high school prospect. And then Pharrell Payne, who is their best player, but unfortunately got injured and has been out since the Michigan game in mid-December. Texas A&M transfer, followed Buzz from A&M. Highly touted transfer player. The 33rd overall prospect in the transfer portal this last offseason. The 4th best center in the transfer portal. 96 overall rating. And even as a prospect coming out of high school, you see he was a top 150 player out of high school. The 123rd overall high school prospect. Rated the 22nd overall power forward and the 3rd best player out of Minnesota. So it's just too bad they lost him. And he was also 6'9". That's the tallest player on their team right there. And then Elijah Saunders, senior. Got the wrong guy there. I don't have anything typed up. But Elijah Saunders transferred from San Diego State, 2 years there, and then 1 year at Virginia. You see how highly rated he was in the transfer portal, 116th overall prospect, 20th rated power forward in the portal. So Buzz Williams didn't just didn't get all of his guys from A&M. He did a good job finding this kid in the portal. He's a good recruiter. This kid's talented. He's one of their starters. And then Andre Mills followed Buzz from A&M. Redshirt freshman. He redshirted his freshman year last season at A&M. And then followed Buzz to Maryland. So he's a redshirt freshman. Just a 3-star in the portal. I think it's because he didn't play at all his freshman season because he redshirted. But you see, as a prospect out of high school, 92 overall player coming out of high school, 18th rated shooting guard, 3rd best high school prospect out of the state of Massachusetts, which is a hotbed for basketball talent. So another highly sought-after, highly talented recruit. Darius Adams, the true freshman. Look at this. 39th overall player coming out of high school. 6th best combo guard. 3rd best player in the state of Indiana. So again, he didn't just go and, take all of his guys from A&M. He went out and recruited his butt off and found some studs. This kid was a 95 overall rating, almost a 5-star, and he's their starting point guard. And then Solomon Washington did follow Buzz from A&M, so he transferred over from the Aggies, did 3 years there, but he's having by far his best season this year at Maryland. But highly sought after in the portal last offseason, 130th rated player in the portal, 24th overall small forward. He's 6'7", 220. He's a good wing for them. Athletic as hell. Not as sought after out of high school, coming out of Louisiana. He was the number 1 player out of the state of Louisiana, but that's a football state, baby. 37th overall small forward. So a good job, Buzz Williams, building relationships with his guys, getting his studs to come over to Maryland from A&M. All right, let's get into Maryland's strengths. Even though it's been a tough season, they've got athleticism. They've got a couple dudes that can go off at any moment. Offensive rebounding is one of their strengths. They're 3rd in the Big Ten, averaging 12.3 offensive rebounds per game. I attribute that to their athleticism. They don't have a lot of size and length. Their tallest guy's 6'9", and that was Pharrell Payne, who's hurt. They got another 6'9" guy. But their athleticism, their smaller line, their speed, their ability to run in transition, their guys can crash the boards and get offensive rebounds and get second chance points. And that's hurt Nebraska when we played good offensive rebounding teams. So that's something that Nebraska's really going to have to game plan for. I showed you Solomon Washington, 9.6 rebounds per game. They've got some dudes that are damn good rebounders. If I pull up their player stats, which I don't even think I've gotten into that yet. No, I have. But if you look, top rebounders, Pharrell Payne was one of them at 7.2 a game, but Solomon Washington, 9.6 rebounds per game. Other than him, nobody really is as strong. They really miss Pharrell Payne with his 7.2. But Solomon Washington, this is the dude that we've got to box out big time. All right. Next strength for Maryland, athleticism on offense. Smaller lineup, don't have a lot of height and length, but they can beat teams in transition and create mismatches when they're flowing offensively. They've got athletic wing play with Solomon Washington, Andre Mills as well. That allows them to stay competitive against elite defenses. Third strength, balanced scoring. I already showed you. They've got 5 players in double figures this season, one of those being Pharrell Payne, who's not playing because he's injured. But even amidst injuries, guys have stepped up. Andre Mills of late, he scored, wrote it down. Andre Mills scored 24 against Iowa, 39 against Northwestern, and 21 in their most recent win against Washington. So this dude can go off any given night. He's just streaky. And then their point guard, Darius Adams, has shown the ability to go off in spurts. David Coy as well. And I got him in here. David Coy, who only played 6 minutes last game, not sure what's going on there. He was their guy that could just go off. Streaky as hell, not consistent with his scoring production. But he had one game this season where he scored 43 points. That's the KU transfer. So although they lost Pharrell Payne, and although they're, averaging the second lowest amount of points in the Big Ten Conference this season, they've got guys that can, random nights, they can go off. They can hit threes. They can score. Let's talk their weaknesses. Number 1, size and length. Talked about it. Their tallest player, 6'9". This has hurt them greatly in Big Ten play. Big time. It's why they've gotten blown out against the best teams, especially in conference play. That, yes, they do a good job nabbing offensive boards, but their defensive rebounding is one of the worst in the league, and they just get completely outmanned on the glass because of their lack of size. Their defense has been really bad. They allow 77.5 points per game. That's second to last in the Big Ten. Just in conference games, they're allowing even more, 78.3 points per game. I also found this advanced metric. They're allowing opponents to shoot 47+% from the field this season. That's 320th nationally. I believe there's 364 Division I NCAA men's basketball teams, so you can get the perspective on how bad that is. Third weakness, offensive efficiency and shooting. They have the lowest amount of assists per game in the conference. They have the worst field goal percentage in the Big Ten, just under 41% on the season. And they're only scoring in just conference games 66.9 points per game. That's worst in the conference, second to worst in the conference. Fourth weakness. Yep, their weaknesses outman and outweigh their strengths. Turnovers. They have the second most turnovers per game in the Big Ten, 12.4. That's a big green light, red light for Nebraska. We love to force turnovers. Nebraska is one of the best in the Big Ten at forcing turnovers and getting steals. With our no-middle defense, we need to be licking our chops. That's something we got to take advantage of. Last game, we did a great job turning those turnovers into points on the other end. I think we're going to do it again and have a great opportunity in this game. That's another reason Maryland's really struggled this season. All right, Huskers keys to victory. Got a little bit more detail, more in-depth analysis here on the keys to victory. First one, win the paint on both ends. Offensively, Nebraska needs to attack early through post touches and paint drives. We did a much better job against Penn State for the full game, working to penetrate the paint, whether it was penetration and drives or feeding it inside. Now, I just want Rank Mass to be more aggressive, backing down his man and taking those hook shots. We've got to stay aggressive and look to get high percentage shots. On defense, we need to force help defense and collapse the lane. And force Maryland to finish oversized. Limit their second chance opportunities. And then I didn't finish on offense. Convert at the free throw line. We've done a pretty good job the last few games at the free throw line. We've got to continue that. So attack early through post touches and paint drives. Force help defense and collapse the lane. And convert at the free throw line after drawing contact. And then on the defensive end, make Maryland finish over our size. We're a much bigger team, and limit their second chance opportunities. Don't let them get a ton of offensive boards, which they've been effective at. Second key, attack the rim. Again, I seem to always want us to attack the rim because it pays off. With Maryland's lack of size and length, their tallest player being 6'9", one of the smallest teams in the conference, Nebraska should play aggressive and look to penetrate the paint and get high percentage looks. I want us to get at least 12 free throw attempts this game. I think that's what we had last game. Nebraska is the worst in the Big Ten at getting to the free throw line. In a game like this, with a team that's this small, we need to be the most aggressive we've been. So I know Sam Hoiberg will be. Jamarcus Lawrence had a few nice penetration drives and layups last game. I want to see that continue. Frager was more aggressive. Everybody, Rank, you need to step up and get aggressive. Take more shots close to the rim, baby. Third key, pressure the ball and force turnovers. We do this well every game. Maryland's one of the most turnover-prone teams in the conference, and they're far less effective when forced to operate late in the shot clock. So I think Nebraska is going to really try to make them uncomfortable and speed them up in this game. So Nebraska should extend defensive pressure on guards, jump passing lanes, and turn live ball turnovers into transition points. In our 4 losses, we didn't do a good job with transition points off turnovers. Last game we did. This game we've got to do another good job converting turnovers into points. Fourth key to the game, win the rebounding margin by 5+. Maryland is third in the Big Ten in offensive boards per game, but they struggle mightily on the defensive glass. If Nebraska's +5 on the glass, we're going to win comfortably, in my opinion. So bottom line, if Nebraska wins the paint on both ends, forces 12-plus turnovers, which statistically we've done pretty much every game this season, shoots 35 or better from three-point, 35% or better from three, and win the rebounding battle, we should control this game and blow them out. Very similar to what we did to Penn State. Win the paint on both ends, force 12-plus turnovers, shoot 35+% from three, and win the rebounding battle. And I think we have a comfortable victory. So my game prediction, Huskers 79, Terrapins 65. I see Nebraska pulling out a comfortable victory late in this game. I think Maryland's going to keep it relatively close, not just in the first half. I think they're going to keep it pretty close, for majority of the game. I think last 5 minutes, Nebraska will get to the free throw line. Home court advantage will play in our favor. I think we're going to force a ton of turnovers and get a lot of transition points, and I think eventually we'll be able to pull away with our depth and three-point shooting late in the game. I see Sanford staying hot. I don't want to say anything about Rank Mass because I'll just jinx it, and he's just been so disappointing lately. But I think Frager will have another good game, and I see J-Law, Jamarcus Lawrence, being our scoring leader this game. I just have a feeling he's kind of been off his game lately. Last game, he did a better job, no turnovers. He was more aggressive with his penetration and drives to the basket. I think we're going to see him take more shots, especially threes in this game. I think he's going to come out shooting. He's going to be hot. I think he finishes with 18-plus points in this game. Hoiberg will do his thing. Hopefully we stick with Frager as the starting lineup instead of Burke. Whether Burke's back healthy or not, I want it to be Frager. So I think Stanford will stay hot. I see J-Law being our leading scorer, and I think Hoiberg will do his thing. And I think the Huskers will pull out a comfortable 14-point victory at home at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and keep leaving comments, you guys. I love to read those and engage with you and talk Husker basketball and just get into the nitty-gritty details. It's fun. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, everybody. Don't forget, Nebraska against Maryland back at home Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central on Big Ten Network. Thanks, everybody, and like always, go Big Red.